Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is JD.
Hello.
Guess we probably ought to start with some sad news. I saw that Gene Hackman and his wife died today.
Um, Actually, I read something that the police think they'd actually been dead for a couple of days before they
Really?
were found.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into it. I just saw
I
that.
just saw that headline and I'm like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
um,
And then one of the actresses from Buffy died the day before. Uh,
Michelle Trachtenberg, yeah,
yeah,
she
looks
played
like
Dawn, Buffy's little sister,
yeah,
and
looks
she
like
was in
she
a
died
bunch of stuff.
yeah, a bunch of stuff. Looks like she died from complications from a liver transplant. So. She
Yeah.
she was only 39,
Um,
so that's
yeah,
pretty.
because I think I read she had the liver transplant last year, and
Yeah,
I guess she'd been having problems. So,
yeah.
um, well, yeah, it sucks because it's only 39. Just that's rough.
I saw
Um,
someone else, and I don't remember who it was, uh, like a voice actor or something, died and he was 51, and that's how old I am. I'm like, ugh.
oh, that is Robert Orkey, the co-writer of some of the Star Trek movies
That's yeah, that was
and Fringe and a bunch of other things. He was a frequent collaborator with J.J. Abrams.
yeah,
So, yeah, 51. Yeah, and I think I read that was kidney failure or kidney compl. Oof,
yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
Um,
So
so
kind of
it's been a tragic couple of days in Hollywood land,
yeah,
um,
and things always
and specifically in our fandoms, because is there anybody that doesn't point to Gene Hackman and say Lex Luthor? There have been other Lex Luthors that have played closer to the comic book character,
yeah.
but as far as bringing a comic book villain to the screen
He was the one of
in a way that
you know,
the audience could digest
yeah,
without ever reading a comic book, really, he just sold it in every scene he was in.
yeah.
He sold it so well that even when Kevin Spacey played Lex Luthor in Superman Returns, he wasn't aping the performance of Gene Hackman, but he was very clearly an extension of the same character.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and Gene,
It's just gets
the number of credits Gene Hackman had beyond just the obvious like Hoosiers and Enemy of the State and the French Connection. The guy had a resume. He was 95. He's been in Hollywood for more than 60 years. The guy, his IMDb reads like a list of major projects in every era of
yeah.
so it's rest in peace to him and his wife.
Yeah,
So
I loved him in Young Frankenstein. That's one of my favorite movies.
I've never seen that.
It's great. He's only in
I
it a couple of minutes, but his I didn't really appreciate how well he did that role until I saw the original Frankenstein, and then just like holy shit, he was just brilliant in that fucking role.
and sometimes in a movie, just a few minutes of screen time is all an actor needs to sell you on it forever.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
um, so yeah, I used to have kind of a hang up with Mel Brooks movies, so I didn't used to give him too much of a chance. And then last year, I finally watched Baseballs as something besides something that was making fun of Star Wars. And actually, what I found was there's a bunch of subtext and a lot of anti, well, totalitarian commentary. And I'm like, that's what Mel Brooks is trying to do. Now I need to go back and watch some more of his movies and give them a better chance.
Yeah,
I'll
100%.
put Young Frankenstein on that list.
Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. I mean, you could not make Blazing Saddles these days.
No, no.
You just couldn't, and it's brilliant. So yeah, kind of a sad note to start off with. Uh, was gonna talk about some toy news as well. JD and I both saw the pre-order for the Spider-Man 2 Venom figure, which looks fucking amazing until you look at the price tag and see that it's 60 fucking dollars.
You know, I thought the $50 for the deluxe Marvel Legends figures from a year or two ago
Yeah,
seemed unreasonable.
yeah.
You add another $10 onto that, and it's not a high end collectible.
No,
This is not a short run fucking comic book exclusive line of toys.
no.
This is Marvel Legends. They're wide release, and even though that Venom is technically an exclusive, it's available online, and it's not it's not some collector's piece. Yeah, collectors will buy it, but it's still just a villain from a Spider-Man line that is supposed to go to retail.
Yeah.
So
No, I saw the figure. I thought it looked fantastic. I'm like, I'm gonna pick that up. And then I saw the
yeah,
pre.
I even sent you a link,
Yeah,
or I even sent you an up close picture that I found of Venom. He's got his mouth open, tongue hanging out, and there's an accessory that's like a clear piece of plastic, but it's drool for the fangs. And I'm like, that is a disgusting and amazing feature, and I need this figure. And then Brian sent me today a screenshot with the 59.99 on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm like, okay, well, I don't need it. I don't need it $60 badly. 40 bucks, sure, maybe, but
I
60?
yeah, no.
Fuck no.
Which also kind
Um,
of leads me into some of the announcements for the Star Wars Vintage Collection. They're doing a bunch of figures on deluxe cards and charging more for them. One's Panda Baba, one is Hammerhead, and the other one's an Imperial Commando.
they've been doing the same thing for the last year or two because I remember there was a deluxe, the Cobb Vanth figure
Yeah,
that came with the Boba Fett armor.
yeah,
He was deluxe priced, but it wasn't a deluxe figure. He just came with the armor pieces from Boba Fett so that you could recreate his plot line from The Mandalorian season 2, episode 1. But without those accessories, then he's just Cobb Vanth from the Book of Boba Fett, and it wasn't worth that deluxe price. Wasn't there? Was a Sabine figure that was deluxe too, and for the same increased price. And so I thought those were unreasonable before, but it turns out they were just testing the waters
yes.
to up the price on every Star Wars figure that they want to call deluxe because it's a couple of extra accessories and a bigger card. That is not $10 worth of price increase.
No.
If wanted to do Ponda Baba with just a regular non-gimmicky arm, because they've done the gimmicky chopped in half arm a few times, they could have just done it as a standard release, but why would we do that? I didn't even realize the Imperial Commando was also a deluxe.
Yeah. It's got a
Um,
shield and some. They're putting it on a bigger card and calling it a deluxe figure. It's not a deluxe figure. It just has
no, it's not.
accessories.
Extra accessories, I don't think make a deluxe figure. Extra oversized accessories do, but not when they're extra pieces that 5 years ago might have just been included in the price.
Yeah.
Um, so
No, I was highly annoyed to see that. I'll probably still pick up the Imperial Commando because I just like the figure, but
of course, but I did see. I never sent you the link because I figured you'd see it, but yesterday they announced the San Diego Comic Con exclusive GI Joe classified box set of the Dreadnoks as Cold Slither.
yeah, I sent you a text to see if you had seen the.
Yeah, I I had seen it, but I figured you would have seen it too. And usually when I send those things to you, it's because I have some kind of reaction or an opinion. It's either something I really want or something that I'm just like, eh. This was one of those where it's middle of the road. I figured you'd see it, and I don't have any particular interest. Is it cool? Yes. Does it look well done? Yes. But is it the Dreadnoks' Cold Slither that I have never in my entire life wished for figures of? Also, yes. Um, I it's it's a memorable plot line from the cartoon, And maybe there's a chance that if they had done it as like a modern era 25th anniversary edition, like a box set, I probably would have ended up with it 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But
I'd have been all over it in 4-inch scale uh, a
um,
while ago. Not number one, not as a San Diego Comic Con exclusive because it's going to come in gimmicky packaging, and you don't want to open the gimmicky packaging because then it ruins the aesthetic of the gimmicky packaging. So then you got this four-figure set that you just sits on a shelf and collects dust, and it's like,
I mean, is it interesting for what they're doing? Sure, because musical instruments are not an accessory that Hasbro would usually do for the toys, but Gridiron and some of the other 3D printers, they've already done guitars and shit. They did them early on. So it's not new ground. And it's probably gonna with the entire because Buzzer comes with the whole damn drum set. And then the rest of them come with their guitars and straps. And really, for four classified figures with all those accessories, I'll be shocked if that set isn't $150. And
my
it's
guess.
$150 that I do not in any way need or want to spend. Um,
My guess is 200. We'll see.
you know, you're probably closer to right, and that makes it even more overpriced. I mean, my
You,
wallet's glad that I'm not interested.
I
My
can.
sanity is glad that I'm not interested because I won't be on Hasbro Pulse hitting refresh trying to get it to because that thing is going to sell out and then it's going to sell out and it's going to sell out again, just like most of the San Diego Comic Con things did, because that's what happened with Once a Man Cobra Commander last year. He
Yep.
was not available. He was available, but he might as well have not been available. And then not even a San Diego Comic Con exclusive, but a few months later, Nemesis Immortal did the same thing. And I really think this Cold Slither set is going to be the same way. You're not going to be able to get a hold of them unless you really super want it. And I'm really glad that I don't care.
Yeah. No,
They look great, but eh.
you figure $25 a figure, that's a 100 bucks right there. Another 25 for the accessories, 125, another 25 for the box, that's 150, plus charge another 50 for the fact that,
Exclusivity.
yeah, the exclusivity, and you're at 200 bucks.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's where I got my,
Um,
man, we'll see how close I am. The one other thing that I did see that I'm kind of interested in is Super 7 O-ring, the nice O-ring. They're doing a Cold Slither Zartan that does have UV change skin. So I'm those go up for pre-order the third, I think I saw. Um I'm gonna
well, and if you look at the back of the card for Zartan, I didn't notice it until it was pointed out by Robert Culpepper in one of the threads on Facebook. But he said that the next wave of the Super 7 Reaction Plus are on there. Winter Coat Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe the movie, Snake Eyes from the cartoon, so he's going to be blue and black, like his appearance in the the Pyramid of Darkness 5-parter,
yeah,
and hang on, I just had a brain fart on what the other one was.
three.
The what?
I think it was just those three.
Oh, damn, there was another one too. I can't remember what it was, but they look they look cool, but maybe it was just those three. I don't need a Cobra Commander. I haven't bought a Cobra Commander in years. Will I buy Snake Eyes? Yeah, probably. Um, I bought the other Snake Eyes. I'll probably buy this one too. Um, and I'll have to re-accessorize it just like I did. Let me see. Let me find it. Now it's just bugging me. Hang on. Um,
I was gonna see. I think that was about all the toy news that I had.
um,
Oh, I did see that coming this weekend. They're I don't remember the name of the company, but Whatever company has the license right now, they are doing mask toys.
Oh, the loyal subjects.
That's it. Thank you. So yeah, Loyal Subjects did some teaser pictures of looks like the Rhino, Thunderhawk, and I want to say Jackhammer. I don't remember right off the top of my head. And no price point, and it sounds like they are in scale with the original toys. Um, so I knew that somebody had the license and there was going to be mask toys this year. I thought it was going to be Hasbro, but I apparently was mistaken about that. Um, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I only had I had some of the toys as a kid. Absolutely love the cartoon. I love the property, but man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what the price is on it.
I didn't care about masks as a kid. Don't care about it now. I saw the pictures. I'm like, happy for the mask fans. Do not care. Oh, I looked it up. Cartoon Wild Bill is the other one
Oh,
coming from, and I can't believe I forgot that because I that one is a need to own for me. Ever since I was a little kid, I really liked the cartoon portrayal and the look of Wild Bill. I always found the original figure to be kind of boring. So that one I'll get. Super 7, good job on that one. But
I'll probably,
Mask, you're right. They're going to do them in the original scale, which actually, I guess that kind of makes sense. I understand the argument for people wanted them in their 18 scale collection, just like they did when they were kids and they still do. But the way these things get licensed out, it's possible that that was just not possible. Um,
yeah, and I think the cost. I have to say that it's probably cost prohibitive to do mask toys in 1/18 scale.
Probably
I
because
love
they're doing the characters and the vehicles, and I think that's where the cost is going to come in. Because the Loyal Subjects is a small company. They're smaller than Super 7. So they have some big licenses. They're one of the many companies that are licensed to do Ninja Turtle toys, but they're still a small company. So if they're committing to mask and doing the figures and the vehicles, it is, I guarantee it's cost prohibitive to expect them to do a 1/18 scale mask line. If anybody was going to do that, it would have been Hasbro, and they were never in any rush to do anything with mask.
no.
Um, they did a Matt Tracker figure in the 25th anniversary Joe line. Then they did another Matt Tracker figure in that San Diego Comic Con set that you showed me. But outside of that, outside of Matt Tracker twice, they've never done anything with mask license. In
Uh,
fact, I was really surprised when the Collectors Club in the last couple of years of the figure subscription service, I was surprised they didn't do any more mask figures because they had a lot of parts. They would just needed to have tooled up Miles Mayhem and a couple of the other characters. Even they didn't do anything with it. So
so the vehicles that are teased are Matt Tracker with the Thunderhawk, Miles Mayhem with the Switchblade. Um, I can't remember the guy's last name, but his first name's Brad. With the Condor, and then it looks like a Matt Tracker again with Bruce Sato in the Rhino. So they've got four vehicles teased um, with four characters. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what the price point is. If it's affordable, I might actually pick them up, but I don't know. It's gonna be a tough sell. I've kind of been soured on collecting the last couple of days after seeing the price point on some of the stuff that's coming out between the Marvel Universe or Marvel Legends figures and then the Star Wars suddenly putting everything on a deluxe card and charging more for it.
I feel like the Star Wars line might be treading water. I mean, I have no basis for that other than the vintage line. The character selection shrinks every year and the price goes up. And the Black Series, while I think it still has better than decent character selection, there's still a lot of characters that aren't made or versions of characters that haven't made that I know people would actually want. And they just modern Hasbro with Star Wars, they just will they don't step outside the box and do any thinking like Hasbro of years ago did.
Yeah.
Um, but
All right.
yeah, I don't know. I've gotten a lot pickier with the things I buy, and that's only going to get even more so. And you haven't been as picky, and I think you're on the verge of being picky too.
Yeah. Very much so. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in some of this. I mean, some of the stuff looks pretty cool, but man, the price point is just is
I
at the point where it's like it's not worth it anymore.
Nope, depending on the line, depending on my level of interest or my devotion to the line. I mean, I will always be the type that will pick up a stray action figure here and there, even from a line I don't collect, just because it's cool. But and I will continue to do that forever because I've always been that way. But gone are the days of me being a completist with anything. And as time goes on, I'm just going to get even further away from being a completionist. So, of
Now I'm still looking forward to the next wave of the Monster Force stuff from Fresh Monkey Fiction,
course, yeah.
and I'm curious to see what they still haven't made an announcement on the 4-inch figures. They said that was going to happen in January, and it did not. And it's apparently not going to happen this month either. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they got up their sleeve on that. But they're playing that pretty close to the vest. Yeah, I think that's about all the toy news I had. Um,
Um,
the movies, Captain America: Brave New World came out last week, and
that was great. I saw it.
we went. Emily and I went to. Yep, there you go. Emily and I went to see it. We forgot it was out opening weekend, and the weather was shitty anyway, so we didn't go out. So we went a couple of days ago, and then promptly had to come home and watch the Edward Norton Hulk movie because most of the movie went over Emily's head.
Hadn't seen it in a while, huh?
We went to
Um,
see it when we went to see it in the theater. Well, you know what? I don't know that we did. No, I think about that because that came out in 2008, so I'd have been in Afghanistan. So
yeah, because
I don't
I
know that
remember
we did
you. I remember you telling the story of taking her on a date to go see the Eric Bana movie, and me commenting that I can't believe she married you after you took her to see that shit movie.
that.
Um,
I was sitting in the theater watching that. I'm like, oh man, this chick is gonna dump me for taking her to this movie.
the there was something special about you because that movie could have easily been the first gigantic roadblock in your relationship.
Yeah.
Um, what a piece of shit that movie
Oh,
was.
I was so disappointed in that.
I was on a non-date with a girl to that movie, and we walked out of the theater, and she was laughing so fucking hard at the overacting of Nick Nolte
Oh yeah, of
that
course.
she couldn't fucking walk straight. She had to stop and lean up against the wall, and she's like, "How do you take this seriously?" I'm like, "I don't. This is not the movie I thought we were going to see."
Uh-uh.
Um, and while the Incredible Hulk is a much better movie, it had its fair share of problems too.
Yeah,
But I do like that eventually Marvel circled back to that one and gave us a follow up because that movie back in 2008 set a bunch of stuff up,
sure
and
did.
they've slowly made their way to going back to it on some, and that's good. You know, She Hulk went back to it. This Captain America went back to it. Agents of Shield made some references to it, but so so
And
you
Emily
so you
hated
all
it.
went to go see it and then promptly went home and rewatched Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
which
Okay.
Emily hated because she hates Edward Norton, she hates Liv Tyler. So,
I
but
I'm with her on both.
but she's like, hey, the story makes sense now. She's like, Captain America made a lot more sense now. So,
Um, I'm with her on both. I don't, as I understand it, Ed Norton was incredibly difficult to work with on that movie,
I've heard
which
that.
is why Bruce Banner was recast with Mark Ruffalo for Avengers. And it has always made me wish that some fan would go back and edit Mark Ruffalo into the Incredible Hulk just so we could see what that would have looked like because it's just so he was he was apparently much easier to work with. Obviously, Marvel has gotten him back for how many movies, but I just he was too broody. He was too bland in that
Yeah,
movie, and I don't like Liv Tyler. I aside of a few movies, like she was good as Arwen. I have to admit that she's great. One of my favorite movies, Empire Records, but for the most part, I don't like her either. So I get where Emily's coming from on that. She
I
tends to annoy me when she's on. She I love Armageddon. It's one of my favorite movies. And I like when characters emote on screen. The problem with Liv Tyler is when she emotes, it's almost she can only exclusively cry and she has happy and she's got crying. And I don't think she has a lot of other range there. So she was perfect as an elf in Lord of the Rings. They're not supposed to have emotion. She was great. Um, so I'm with Emily on not liking her.
I can
Thankfully, she only had a cameo in this movie.
I can live or take I can take or leave Liv Tyler, but I really like Edward Norton. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff that I really like. And I
Fight Club.
yeah, Fight Club one of them. And I saw that movie because I read the book. The book's fantastic. But yeah, so I kind of liked him as Bruce Banner, but once they got Mark Ruffalo, I'm like, yeah, as much as I hate to see stuff recast all the time, I was like, yeah, you know what? They did a good job with that. So,
Right on the heel. The Mark Ruffalo thing mostly bugged me right on the heels of the recasting of Rhodey. But honestly, in both cases, Don Cheadle and Mark Ruffalo both turned out to be better choices in those roles. So
yeah.
that's why I kind of wish some fan would just go back and edit both of them into Iron Man 2 and uh, The Incredible Hulk, just so we could see it, you know. But um, it was kind of weird to see
It
a movie involving what's that?
was in Iron Man 2. I think you mean Iron Man.
Um, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I wish they would go back and edit Don Cheadle just just into the first one just a little bit because Terrence Howard was good in the role,
It was.
but it and he's a great actor. But I remember at the end of the movie when he looks at the Mark II armor and he's like, "Next time, baby, next time." And it sucks because he never got to be next time. Don Cheadle comes in, steals the role, and it's still is still playing the role. Same with Mark Ruffalo. They're not going anywhere. They keep coming back. So I, it's an interesting exercise in the road not taken, but no complaints with what they've done. Marvel has they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I
So
like that movie though. Harrison Ford is incredibly good in that role, and I love seeing the footage of him from San Diego Comic Con acting out the overacting of the Hulk that they were going to do the motion capture for, and I'm like, that role must have been a hell of a lot of fun to play.
yeah,
Um,
I'm just glad they didn't try and do CGI William Hurt. As much as I love William Hurt, I'm sorry to see him pass, obviously, but at the same time, I'm glad that they didn't just like, okay, that actor's deceased. We're not going to touch that role anymore because they've built so much into that with
yeah,
with,
yeah.
with Thunderbolt Ross that I'm glad that they did go back to that.
You know, when he was announced and I saw the first set photos, I'm like, ah, damn it, he doesn't have the mustache. I like that they mentioned that in the movie
Yeah.
that he shaved it for the election, but I like that we also got a flashback where we did get to see him with the mustache, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay they made him shave because Harrison Ford can do good facial hair, but he doesn't look right with just a mustache, I guess. So I'm like, at least they put it in there. All right, I was happy. So I was quite happy with that movie. I did like the surprise cameo by Sebastian Stan too.
Yes.
Did not realize he was going to be in the movie. So
I
I
was
have to admit, now I'm kind of hoping for a cameo by Anthony Mackie in Thunderbolts now. But
Yeah, did see the previews for Thunderbolts. That looks fantastic. I absolutely love the premise of the Thunderbolts movie. And I also like the fact that if you have ever looked at the comic book, Punisher was a Thunderbolt, Elektra was in Thunderbolts, Deadpool was in Thunderbolts, Red Hulk was in Thunderbolts. This opens up a lot of room to bring
it
this
really does.
opens
And
up
you
a
know,
room to bring in a lot of the MCU that's like we saw in Deadpool Wolverine. So I'm like, ooh boy, they
yeah,
had some opportunities here that they didn't before.
I do think that we could see a Thunderbolt sequel someday that does have some mainstream characters in it after. And I like the setup for this one because the Avengers are gone. We know that for sure. That they never reassembled after Endgame
Yeah.
because in Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolt Ross says, "Sam, I want you to help me rebuild the Avengers." And
Yeah.
in the Thunderbolts movie, the Thunderbolts are put together and they have to play a bigger role than any of those characters expected to play because there's no Avengers
Right.
and some shitty thing is going to happen and they have to step in and take over. So I love that they're laying the groundwork for more future Marvel stuff here and giving Yelena a movie in the process. She is by far my favorite Phase 4 character, and I'm really glad she's getting a movie. I mean, I know she's got a whole team behind her, including the Winter Soldier, but it's going to be damn entertaining, and I can't wait for that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like the beginning of the tie into the mutant movies by
That's right. I forgot about that plot
Professor
point.
Adamantium. So
Yes, yes, that's right. I forgot all about that, but and I didn't know about that. I had no idea that was going to happen. So when he's talking about the world's nature's hardest metal and not safeguarded by one isolationist place, I'm like, and then he says adamantium. I'll be, oh shit! I did not expect that, but what a way to lay down the groundwork for because remember vibranium was mentioned once early in the MCU and then they expanded way outward with it. Well, now they can do the same thing with adamantium, and that is so fucking cool.
yep.
Um, that is so cool. Um,
So saw the preview for Fantastic Four. I am hopefully optimistic for a change. I don't know why in the fuck nobody can make a decent Fantastic Four movie because Fantastic Four, we've talked about this before about how Fantastic Four has such a huge rogues gallery and is one of the pillars of the Marvel Pantheon and is, one of the founding titles of Marvel. And they've never been able to really a, do it justice.
I think with the 2007 movie, they had a decent basis. I like the cast, but they didn't know what to do with the movie. And then they made a sequel that made it worse. And
Yeah,
then there was a spinoff that was worse. And then we got John Krasinski in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as fulfilling the fan casting idea of putting John Krasinski as Reed Richards. And that worked for that movie.
sure did.
But I'm okay with them not going back to that. I'm okay with them if they're going to do the Fantastic Four and it's going to lay some groundwork for a retcon in the Marvel universe. I'm okay with them restarting altogether. And what they did with this trailer, I like that it set in the past, and everything is sort of got that glossy sheen on it,
So yeah,
and that's really cool.
it is.
That's I'm looking very forward to seeing what they do here, especially because Thing, not only does he look right, he feels right. He's not all, you know, he's a big dude, and he has a lot of trouble with his transformation, but he wasn't an all around just broody, cranky dude
Right.
like how Michael Chiklis played him. I like that this guy, he's got some sunshine. So that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So saw the preview for the new Mission Impossible movie. That looks
Me
fantastic.
too. Fuck yes.
Looking forward to seeing the conclusion of that storyline. I think one of the biggest movie news things that's come out has not been a preview. It's that the owners of James Bond sold the rights, and holy shit, I did not see that coming. Because
Um,
that gal said that the kid of Alfred Broccoli said that she would never let go of those rights.
I
Like,
wonder what made her change her mind.
my guess is Amazon's got some pretty fucking deep pockets, and they wrote her a really big check, and she's probably like, you
Sure.
know what, I don't want to do this the rest of my life, and I can kind of, money aside, I can kind of see not wanting to be responsible for that property for the rest of your life, and just like,
Especially because it's a property that you know is going to keep going, and that if you maybe she just felt honestly, I'm the one with the creative interest here, but if I give it over to them, because it's not like they had a natural follow up to her. It's not like it was going to continue in the family estate for
right,
creative control.
right.
So um, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it will be interesting to see what Amazon does with it because
First thing they
I
did,
don't think.
I don't know if you saw this, but the first thing they did with it is Jeff Bezos came out and said, ask the fans who they wanted to be the next James Bond.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I thought that
Um,
was pretty cool. Whether or not they do anything with that, there's pros and cons to that for sure. I think one of the more interesting cast choices that I've seen thrown out there was Idris Elba, and I think that would be fucking awesome.
I have never seen that guy play a role that he didn't play the fuck out of. He is good in everything, and he is incredibly likable. Um,
Yes.
he's great in interviews. He's he's great in all of his roles I've seen. I've seen him play himself in things, and he's really good. And he's got the perfect accent already. He's faking all the other accents. He's got a true British accent, and you know what? That's a good starting place.
I
Um,
would really like to see that. But, I'm just curious to see where it goes. James Bond is probably it's right up there with Star Wars for me because I saw Star Wars in the theater in 77, and I'm sure James whatever James Bond movie came out shortly thereafter, my dad took me to that, and I've been watching James Bond since probably before I could walk. So as far as like length in time in fandom, James Bond is second only to Star Wars. So
and
I'm really curious to see where they go with that. And as an aside, I mean, you think Star Wars fans are toxic? Holy shit. The James Bond fans are a little bit more closeted about it, but they are just as toxic as Star Wars fans can be. I mean, when they
um,
announced Daniel Craig as the new James Bond, some of the fucking hate that he got was unfathomable.
you know, some fandoms can make the fandoms of like the Transformers just look tame. Um, I mean, I've seen plenty of rabid Transformers fans that'll just eat your arm off if you disagree, but there's there's been so many versions of the Transformers over the years that the fandom, the loudest voice is always the G1ers, but it's split into so many different smaller fandoms that I found that overall they're a lot more accepting of things. I'm not a James Bond fan. The first movie of his I watched was Goldeneye,
That's a good
and
one.
then The World Is Not Enough came out after that,
Good
and
one.
so that was what's that?
That was not one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I mean Goldeneye was great.
Golden Eyes.
Wait, the second one that was The World Is Not Enough, right?
No. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never. Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, it was the one with Michelle Yeoh and somebody else I can't remember off the top of my head now. But um, I like both of those. Then The World Is Not Enough was okay.
I
I
love.
did go back and eventually see some of the older Bond stuff. I do understand why Connery was so popular. Some of his movies were cool. I liked a lot of those. Um,
You have to
the
keep.
Tim Dalton movies, I saw those. They were okay.
They were not good. You have to keep in mind when those movies came out too, and put them in context. The Connery movies came out in the '60s, and I mean that was hot shit for the '60s.
Yeah, I think the Dalton movies are ones that I probably need to go back and watch again. But
One is
um,
he did two of them. One's not too bad. One is just horrible.
yeah, I remember the first one I saw was better than the second one. Um, I've seen one Roger Moore movie, and it was Moonraker, and that was entirely the wrong place to start with Roger Moore. So someday I'll go back and give a fair shake to Roger Moore.
There are a
Um,
couple really good Roger Moore movies.
but so as a non-fan who likes Bond sort of as a curiosity more than any, I'm just as interested as you, the diehard fan, to see what they do with this because this could potentially lead to um, different stories set in that universe, maybe with different actors, maybe not, but we could actually see James Bond in different mediums, which is something aside from a 90s cartoon called James Bond Jr.,
Yeah.
which was
Oh,
terrible.
I was gonna.
I was the target audience for that show, and it was terrible. So, yeah, they could do different media things with James, and that would be interesting to see.
I think it would be too. As an aside spinoff, again, preview, they are doing a spinoff series of the John Wick universe. The movie is going to be called Ballerina, and it's kind of follows the like the if you've seen the third one,
I haven't yet.
yeah. So I'm not going to ruin too much of it, but when he's trying to kind of get back into it, you see him go to this ballerina company, and like I said, I don't want to ruin the story, but it's going to be a spin-off from that point, and it looks really good. And I
Um,
absolutely love the John Wick universe. Keanu Reeves just kills it in those movies. And
I saw the first two; they were great. Then I forgot about the third one when it was out, and then I lost track. I did see a quote last month where Keanu Reeves said, "I would love to make a fifth John Wick movie. Right now, no, my knees cannot take it.
I
I
saw,
barely made it through the fourth one."
yep,
He's like, as much as I want to keep playing that role, he said, I think I need new legs first.
yep,
So,
I saw that. He's
so
like,
I,
my heart
yeah,
says yes, but my knees say no, I think is what he said.
that you know what? I think you're right. I think that's the quote. He's like, yes and no. Peacock, the streaming did have a Continental John Wick series, but I didn't watch it.
I did,
Um,
I forgot about that, and I didn't
um,
see that
but
either.
um, yeah, I don't. Um,
So when we were sitting there watching that, my wife has not seen, she's seen the first one. So she hadn't seen the second or the third. She might have seen the second one, but she has not seen the third one. So she was sitting there thinking this was going to be a Black Widow prequel because this, if you stop and think about it, the scenes that they're showing, because there's a lot of like ballerina stuff that was in the Red Room. She's like, I thought this was going to be the Red Room movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can. And
Um,
she's seen enough of the John Wick movies to pick up on the cameos that were in the like the front desk guy and the guy that runs the
yeah,
continental.
because I think I read that this is this is Lance's last appearance in John Wick.
Hmm.
This movie is he's Lance Reddick is in this movie, and they said it's his last appearance in but they're glad that he's in it, and they're going to attribute it to him. I think I did not see the trailer before my showing of Captain America, but I did see the poster on the way in,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, the poster's cool. It's just it's just her as the ballerina in the, but
Hmm.
it's nice and moody. And
Looks
that
good.
does remind me, I really just need to watch the other John Wick movies.
I actually haven't seen the fourth one yet. I just because I didn't get a chance. I couldn't talk my wife into sitting down to watch the third one to go see the fourth one with me, and I just never got a chance to go by myself. So I
You know what just occurred to me? Way back when we relaunched this show for the sixth or eighth time, back when we first relaunched it as the audio podcast, it was an episode that we did where we were just talking about John Wick, and I hadn't seen it yet. And you recommended it to me, that made me, after we were done with the show, go and rent it on one of the streaming services so I could finally watch it. And that was shortly before the second movie came out on streaming. So this was a while ago, but it's funny that this ties back to a much earlier episode where I only saw John Wick in the first place because of Brian's recommendation. I love Keanu Reeves,
Oh
but I
yeah,
just hadn't seen much about it. So,
yeah, no,
um,
fantastic. And then there's still rumors that he's at some point in time there is going to be a sequel to Constantine. So
um, well, I'll be I'll be cool if that happens, because having watched it a few times since I rewatched it a couple months ago, boy, I really like that movie. So,
yeah, 100%. I am looking forward to that. And I've seen an interview with Keanu Reeves where I think it was Stephen Colbert that asked him, he's like, if you could do a follow up to any movie that you've done, what would it be? And Keanu Reeves says Constantine.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So he really is. I mean, like Ron Perlman wants to be Hellboy again, vested into the role of Constantine. So I'm still hoping because I'd heard rumors that they were going to start production on that, but I haven't seen anything recently on that.
Um, well, did you see the set photos from the Masters of the Universe movie? I
Uh,
have no particular opinion
I
except this.
saw some stuff. I didn't look at it too closely. I saw the stills of the kid that's playing Prince Adam.
Yeah, that's all I saw too. But I I more sat there thinking to myself, there has been some form of rumor of a live action Masters of the Universe movie for so long. It was in development hell for so long. I remember over the years reading many different internet news articles about so and so is now the director. They want so and so for the role, but nothing ever happened. It had been in development hell for the better part of 2 decades. And my shock over this is, holy shit, they actually got the ducks in a row. They're actually shooting a live action Masters of the Universe movie with Prince Adam on Earth, but still wearing a pink tunic. And I'm like, oh my God, they actually put that fucking movie together. There's a whole cast list and they're shooting. So I'm
I,
like,
I
oh my
see a
God, the
release
movie's
until
really happening.
until I see a release date. I am still highly skeptical.
That is fair enough, because you're right. Sometimes the movie gets shot all the way through and then something happens and it doesn't release. All right.
Until I see
That's a
until
good point.
I see a release date and a trailer, I am skeptical at best that there's going to be a live action Masters of the Universe
Well,
movie for all
it's
of the
definitely closer than it used to be.
agree. Agreed.
because I remember a rumor that like Jason Momoa would play him, and I'm like, boy, wow, you should get more obvious while you're at it. Um, so, and then last week I saw the news that Jason Momoa is in fact going to play Lobo for the live action DC
Uh,
Universe stuff, and I saw that and I said, that guy, he looks like Lobo already. Maybe this is one of those roles he was born to play.
it's funny you
Um,
should say that because I just watched an interview with him when he went to go do his screen test for DC. He thought that's the role he was going into screen test for.
really?
Yes. He's like, who am I gonna be? I'm gonna be fucking Lobo, of course. And he went in and he was completely surprised that he had done this screen test for Aquaman. He's like, who the fuck is Arthur? What? He's like, no. He's like, I completely thought I was going into screen test for Lobo. I mean, he's like, who else would I play? So
That's funny. That's really funny because
like some of the movies we just mentioned, like Keanu Reeves wanting to go back to Constantine and Ron Perlman wanting to go back to Hellboy. Jason Momoa wants to be Lobo. So when those guys want to do that role so badly they can taste it, it's usually gonna
yeah, because look at
they're gonna give them the best, and I'm
well,
looking forward to that.
do you remember 15 years ago when X-Men Origins Wolverine came out in the theater? And the only thing anybody could agree on with that movie was that Ryan Reynolds killed it as Wade Wilson, that he was born to play the loudmouth mercenary that was prone to super violence because he already previewed that when he played the what's his name in Blade Trinity.
Yeah,
It was like a practice role for him. It was like a practice run for him to play Wade Wilson.
yeah,
And then he played Deadpool properly in the first half of that movie. And then they fucked everything up about Deadpool for the second half of that movie.
yeah.
But I just remember thinking, my God, Ryan Reynolds was born to play the Merc with a mouth. And the fact that later on he got to make three Deadpool movies, actually, he's just about as akin to Deadpool as Jason Momoa is for Lobo. They
I,
just there's some roles people were put on this earth to play, and I think that might be one of them. He was great as Aquaman. He looked like the Peter David iteration, and he played him. He played him well. I like those. I liked his role, and I like those movies.
you
But
know
he's
what?
gonna
I
fucking
guess
nail
movie
it
that,
as
that really
Lobo.
flew under the radar was him as Conan the Barbarian.
I didn't see that movie.
I
My
really
ex,
like that one.
my ex loves the first Conan movie, the original, the Schwarzenegger version.
I do too.
She didn't finish watching the Jason Momoa Conan.
Oh, really?
So yeah, she got about halfway through and just said, I don't like him and I don't like this movie. But
I
um
like uh it definitely flew under the radar. Didn't do very well. I think I ended up when I used to work overseas, I would sit down with like iTunes and find movies that I hadn't seen and then buy a bunch of them and then watch them on the plane over to wherever I was being assigned to. And Conan was one of those movies. So I watched it on the plane to probably Africa. And I'm like, I really like this. I like the storyline. I like the action. I liked him as Conan. I know it was good. That was a great movie.
I haven't watched it. I remember when she watched that, it was on TV, but I was in the middle of a podcast when she started watching it. I got a text that said, I'm watching the new Conan because you're podcasting. So, and by the time I got in there, man, by the time you and I finished that podcast, again, this is a really long time ago we're talking about. By the time we finished and I went in, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come watch the movie with you. I got to the room and she's like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm like, why? She's like, that was terrible and he sucks. So it's funny how two people can look at the same movie and have such wildly different reactions to things.
Yeah.
Um,
I liked it. Again, I have read I think just about all of the books.
I've never read one. I don't know if Janet ever did, but she just really liked the Schwarzenegger movies, both of them.
Second one wasn't that good, and Red Sonja was so bad that Arnold Schwarzenegger said that when his kids were bad, he would make them sit down and watch Red Sonja as punishment.
Damn, I've never seen the Red. So I've never seen the second Conan movie or the Red Sonja movie, but even I know the reputation of both. The second Conan is widely considered to be inferior, and Red Sonja is widely considered to, by apparently everybody who breathes, to be awful. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't think she ever read the books, but she did see those movies, and she acknowledged Red Sonja was bad. She acknowledged the second Conan wasn't as good, but it was still good. So,
Yeah, so
um,
I've read all the Howard Carter books, and most of them are just like short stories. They're not like novel long books. Um, so because most of them were published in like so when this stuff came out, most of the fiction was short stories and they came out in magazines. So
oh yeah, 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 like the old sci-fi magazines.
yeah. So there were sword and sorcery and then sci-fi and different
The
genre.
the the it was the pulp era of fiction.
Yeah, kind of.
Um,
So most of those came out in those like weird tales or strange tales magazines. So they're magazine length stories. And I thought I thought the Jason Momoa Conan movie, whoever did that, they sat down and read those books. And it was pretty clear that they sat down and tried to follow some of what Howard Carter had done. And I really appreciated that.
that is pretty cool to learn. Maybe I should watch that movie because I've never read those, but I like that it felt like they were following those, and I know the movies did not. Um,
No,
Although
not
you know, while Schwarzenegger is still alive, if they want to make a King Conan movie, they probably could.
yeah.
Um,
Because some of those stories, I mean, they follow him from the beginning all the way through when he is king until he gets deposed as king in one of the stories and gets is away from his kingdom for a long time and then comes back. I mean, it's like his whole life saga in bits and pieces. So it's really interesting to read all of the books, and all the short stories. Um, so yeah, I would be interested to see Arnold Schwarzenegger doing a King Conan movie. I don't see that happening, but
Neither do I, but the dude's still out there. He's still acting.
yeah,
He's the right age. Make it while he's still here.
yeah,
Um,
I would not be opposed. So
um, I always appreciate. There's always something that I appreciate about authors, no matter what era they wrote in, that held on to these same characters for years and years, long enough to tell the beginning of their story and the end of their story. Like that's always cool when an author keeps a character going and you get to follow them. Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
one good example of that is Sherlock Holmes because I mean he killed Sherlock Holmes off in the storylines. And there was such an uproar for that when that happened that he had to find a way to bring him back from the dead. So I mean, even back then authors were trying to like, okay, I just killed off my main character, how do I bring him back? I mean, it's like the groundwork for the Marvel universe started in Sherlock Holmes. It's like, yep, we just killed off the main guy, but oh boy, did we just piss off all our fans and now we got to bring him back.
It's also nice to know that in the last 100 years, since the fans of Sherlock Holmes, when they only had typewriters and paint and uh, uh, pens to write with, fans were just as angry at the authors then as they are now. They just have more ways to show it now.
Yep.
But the fans that don't like a thing have always been able to show their disapproval.
That is why that is why he brought him back, was the outcry from the fans. So
Damn,
yeah,
damn. At that time, you know how much feedback you would have had because mail was slow and there was no other way to communicate with people.
right.
So the volume of mail they must have gotten in a long period of time after that, that the publishers would have gotten enough so they hand them over to the author, and the author's like, oh, fuck, I really fucked this up. I got to do something.
Yeah.
I kind of admire that kind of tenacity that the fans must have had now because,
It just kind of goes to show you that some things never change.
yeah, you're right. You're right. These things go in cycles, but fans have always been a loud, vocal, whiny minority. They have always been, and they always will be.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Let's see. I think we hit all the movie news. We hit all the toy news.
this is truly a well-rounded episode of this
Yeah,
show.
it's very generalized geekery.
It really is. I'm proud of us. Um,
I believe
um,
JP had some stuff to open. So
I do. Firstly, I never owned any of the 1994 30th anniversary 3 3/4 inch GI Joe tribute figures. Now I do. I got the action pilot because I had one of the licensed keychains, but I've got a set of the keychains. It was the Marine, the soldier, the sailor, and the pilot, all in different colors. But
yeah.
I decided that I wanted an actual one, so I went on eBay and I found a deal on it.
Oh,
So I'm gonna
Amazon.
unbox it because I've never owned one. No, I take that back. I had a loose action soldier that I got years ago, and I customized it. So this is the first time I've ever had one that I can open from the package. So it's like I'm 14 all over again, except that I never owned it then. But you want me to set up my camera with the
Yeah.
phone?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's figure that out.
So yeah. Apparently I accidentally banned JD on his phone when he accidentally got logged into the meeting twice on his phone and we got into the death echo. So I don't know.
Yeah, he was trying to just send one of mine out, but apparently the phone treats it as you just banned that email address. So now I can't sign back in, and Brian can't figure out how to unban me from our podcast. So, you know, I always joke that the only difference between us and the Amish and the Luddites are smartphones, but
not by much.
yeah, that we really are. We're just Luddites because even the Amish for business stuff, they use some technology. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just so we can't get the third camera in here. So I'm just going to have to do a better job unboxing it so you can see it. So that is what we'll do. So, well, it's interesting without opening it. It comes with the same parachute pack that was available as a mail away for years. I even had the mail away parachute pack when I was a kid.
I don't know if I did or not. I don't remember having that. I think I stopped doing mail away stuff. I always I was always I got the first two mail away, so I got the like the hooded Cobra Commander, I got the Manta, and then I stopped getting stuff because I was like, I don't quite like this, and I don't want to spend all my flag points on something that, and then find out that I don't have enough to get the next cool thing that comes out, and
That
then
makes sense.
nothing new ever came out, and I stopped getting mail away stuff.
You know, this comes with a little 1994 fold out catalog for the
Oh,
product line.
nice.
And the fact that we've got the full spread of the 1994 release characters and the Star Brigade is really cool.
Yeah, that
Plus,
is cool.
plus it's got the Street Fighter stuff
Oh,
on one side And down here, it's got the 12-inch Hall of Fame stuff.
Nice.
It's cool to see these old products that they were contemporary at the time, and now they're literally relics of the ancient past. Um,
I wish I'd
um,
kept uh all the product guides or the product guides that came with the vehicles when I was a kid,
um, I
just for the
I just
nostalgia.
remember some of those the little Malaway forms that you had. I just remember looking at those for hours sometimes, ordering stuff, not ordering stuff. It didn't matter. Just it was just looking at those catalogs to bring all the imagination out to play at once. Um, so here's the action pilot with the retro style head sculpt, and already the plastic is very obviously different from those keychain figures, which you would expect, but this feels like a proper old GI Joe figure.
Nice.
And the last time I felt this is when I opened those red shadows from Skeletron. So
Ah,
they success and the ghost from Operation Longbow or
oh yeah,
Call Sign Longbow.
yeah.
So those two companies have successfully recreated the feeling of opening a vintage Joe. So
You can't be
um so here's his retro style pilot helmet. I
nice.
love this. Lately I've been watching For All Mankind on Apple TV,
Okay.
and they've got some of the early pilots that became astronauts, and so I
Ah,
just realized this figure works for that, and now it really makes me want a 1994 action astronaut for the same reason.
yeah.
The helmet fits easily over the head with no problems, and it's not loose. It's not going to come off. It's
Nice.
made from the right stuff. I just
Ah,
realized. I just made it. I didn't even mean to make that joke, but what a clever boy I am.
oh boy.
So,
What?
so yes, here is the parachute pack, and he comes with Shockwave's uh, pistol. But
Yeah.
the interesting thing is they they slimmed down the handle.
Oh yeah. Look at
So yeah, because I remember Shockwave's originally he came with one of, but it had a really oversized handle, and I'm glad that this doesn't. Even though it's kind of a modern looking pistol, I'm glad that this retro style figure has it. So yeah, it's not going to come off, and it's not going to break his thumb. So
yeah.
and they do have, God damn it, they do have trigger fingers sculpted out too,
Oh yeah. Look at that.
which is I love that they did that back in 1994 because I love that feature on the classified figures when they have the and it's cool to see it on a figure that's from so long ago. Yeah, fits beautifully in the hand, no problem.
Nice.
Um, no broken thumb,
Yeah.
no stretchy. So good on you, Hasbro. And he's got a really old fashioned rifle.
Oh yeah.
Um, it it's era appropriate, I think, but whenever I see the old fashioned rifles like that, it just makes me think of Full Metal Jacket and their uh the spinning and twisting that they were doing with the I can't remember the name of it, damn it. But
It's an M1.
that's what's that?
I think it's an M1.
Yeah, that. So that's what I always think of. But all right, so I do like that the weapons trees were still around in 1990, or that they went because it was 1994. That even the retro figures came with the weapons trees. Um, you can tell when you have a battle core weapon because they have the glossy plastic and that softer feel. This is definitely made from that 1994 weapons plastic, so it could it if somebody ever advertised it online as vintage 1984, you could pick it up and be like, this not from 1990, not from 1984. Um, comes with a working parachute too.
I'm gonna ask.
I'm reluctant to pull the string off and open it to see what's on it because I'll never get it folded again well enough to fit it back in here. That is kind of the reason why when I had the original Malloway parachute pack, the parachute never fit properly but I also just discovered that it doesn't actually fit unfolded.
And that was
So
my next question was, does it actually fit in there?
no. So I'm gonna take the damn string off of here and I'm gonna see what this fucking parachute looks like.
I think it's
Um,
blank. I don't think there's any design on it, if I remember right.
well, if I take it off and that's the case, I'm gonna one say, haha, you were right, and two, be annoyed that it's just plain. So we're gonna see what happens here. So far, it does look like it is just plain
Yeah,
white plastic.
because
And
they
I
try.
believe that Ryan is right.
Yeah,
And now I'm annoyed that it doesn't have like the old style font G.I. Joe logo in the middle of it or something.
yeah, because
Because the Malloway
I think
parachutes
they tried.
did have they did have a G.I. Joe logo. So yes, it is in fact plain white cellophane.
Yeah,
Now
I
I have to fold it again.
I think with the 30 with those four specific figures, they tried to make them as military realistic as they could with what they had, so that's why there's no design on it.
Okay, that does make sense. I don't think the real world military puts their logo on the parachutes.
Um,
But
it's high vis white so that they can be spotted from the air. So I think because I know like the other three figures, they all have era appropriate equipment and weapons. So
that makes sense.
I think they tried to get them as realistic military as they could for what they had. So that's
I've
yeah.
almost got it, damn it. So
Now is
anyway,
that backpack a remold of one of the Skytroop the
yeah, the oh
okay.
yeah, the Sky Patrol guys also use that same Malloway parachute pack in, but the Sky Patrol had them in individual colors.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the same. It's the same mold,
Yeah. I
and it comes with the same stretchy rubber strap
uh
um, that goes around the guy, which is good because um, I lost that when I was a kid. So the parachute pack, whether I was using it or not, tended to get lost because I have a little strap.
yeah.
Um, so really oversized military. I mean, it's a little out of scale, but
Yes.
I think this would scale nicely with the classified version, but with the classified scale. But you know what? They fixed the gun, so win some, you lose some. So I am pretty happy that I own this action pilot now.
Those are
And
not figures. I don't have any of those in my collection. I've never had the keychain versions, and I've never had any of the 30th anniversary ones. I kind of want
this
the sailor because it's kind of Navy Sealish, but yeah,
definitely, yeah, because that figure, I was pricing them on eBay the other day, and that figure does come with like a little floating raft,
it
and
does.
it does come with like the flippers, and so you could definitely buy it and put it with the Navy SEALs, and it would fit in nicely. This really does make me want some more of these action guys, but some point in this, I'll deal with that later. The other things that I want to unbox. Yesterday, I got the GI Joe Transformers crossover set with Soundwave as the Dreadnought Thunder Machine.
Which we
And
I unboxed on the show, I
yeah,
think.
you unboxed it on the show way back when you first got it. I I had to get it for two reasons. First of all, I never owned a Thunder Machine or the repaint of it from the Street Fighter GI Joe line called the Beast Blaster. I never owned it either, so I didn't know what to expect. And um, I nobody ever owned it as a transformer till now. And I'm really glad that there's YouTube videos that will take you step by step through transforming it, because that little fold out paper, remember the days of MapQuest directions where you'd print them out and you would always get lost because the directions would skip a step? That is what those little printout, those are what those little black and white blueprint step by step guides that the Transformers figures include feel like. There's always a step that they didn't cover. So should I get the sound? Should I go get it?
Nah, that's all right. We've already unboxed it.
Okay, because my comic pack Thrasher figure that I've had for 15 years has never had a Thunder machine to drive. Now he does. And now I really need to get a vintage Thrasher too, because he is one of my favorite dreadnoks. But so having never owned a Thunder machine before, I'm really happy with the way this one is built. Transformer, now it's made from plastic that's going to last, and it's really just nice to have such a steadfast vehicle that it's just nice to finally have one. So Thrasher's quite happy.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna unbox the figures. I didn't do that. Brian did, but I'm gonna do my own. I'm such a nerd for Zartan and his siblings. I just wanted to do this on camera. Um, so we'll start with Zorana, who is clearly a new mold,
yes.
but she's not a straight up recreation of the original Zorana, which is cool. There's one detail that I particularly like about it. Um, the original Zorana had the armored shoulders, like Zartan and Xandar both did, but this Zorana omits the shoulder armor,
Ah, yes.
but has the dragon tattoo that she had in the original art by Ron Rudat.
Ah. Oh yeah, look at that.
So that is interesting that finally in action figure form, we have the original ideation of Zorana with the tattoo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it kind of makes me really wish that we could also get a Xandar with his matching tattoo, because they're twins. So matching tattoos is not at all creepy.
It's funny you should say that because that is kind of my only disappointment with this set is there is not a Xandar to go with it.
And I'm fine with him not being included.
Yeah,
I'm actually okay with Thrasher not being included. But it just makes me sad, because in what other Transformers crossover set do you think we could maybe get a Xandar?
I don't think that there needs to be another Transformers crossover set. I think there needs to be like an accessory pack and have that be like a two pack, and it would be Thrasher and Xandar, or a three pack.
That would be nice. That would be nice. I would buy the shit out of that. Or um, even if it was just, oh, hi Emily.
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt. I just thought I'd say hi.
You're not interrupting anything. We've been talking for an hour and a half and haven't said anything. So
Like a typical.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
um I got a haircut.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
You know what? I've had worse. Um
Okay. That's a
it's fine. Um so
Odd
I
dog.
was just unboxing toys because that's what we do. Um
there.
yeah, I was just showing off the Zorana figure with the tattoo.
Okay. That's
Yeah, when I was a kid, Zorana's card art, I mean, I was a little kid, pre-adolescent, but it still inspired something in me that, I don't know. I like edgy chicks and chicks in uniforms. What can I say? But anyway,
We won't go into the texts that he sends me that says I want one, and I reply no
no. Just
with
no.
the pepper
yeah.
from Iron Man 2.
That's exactly because when I say I want one, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm quoting Tony Stark,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you've always been aware of that because I'll always get a response that's just a straight up no, and I'm like, fine,
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I always find the Pepper Potts gift that says no and send it.
no.
It's the only reasonable response.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, I'll let you chit chat.
All right.
You say hi.
Oh,
I got new glasses.
Hey,
Can you see that?
I heard that after you guys went to see Captain America, Emily, I heard after you guys went to see Captain America
Huh?
that you had to go home and watch The Incredible Hulk because you just didn't remember the movie or hadn't seen it. So,
We hadn't
um,
seen it. I think
It-
Brian had seen it at some point, and then we were
Yeah.
picking it apart afterwards. It came out in '08. That's when he left for Afghanistan. So he was probably
yeah,
gone. 'Cause I'm like, how did we
yeah,
not
because
see this?
that, yeah, that's the same reason why he ironically had to miss Iron Man in the theater.
yeah,
Yeah, gone somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like, the movie makes no sense without it, but it is helpful because they reference a lot of things. I'm like, did I miss a movie in here? Like, I have no.
sure did.
Clearly, there was an issue with Hulk and Abomination, but I don't remember that. So
Stearns. Yep.
now I know.
Yeah.
Um,
and knowing is half the battle.
that's what I've heard. So,
Yeah. I'm really glad you just walked into that one. Um,
happy to help.
um,
So,
so,
yeah,
how's Desk Rat?
he's good. He's good. I mean,
And
he's
you've got the Skeledrones there keeping him company, right?
Yeah. And it cracked me up because one of my coworkers had to bring her kiddo into work a couple weeks ago, and she's like 5, I think now. So she's adorable. Um, but Ashley brought her into my office and she's looking around at stuff, and boy, she saw those skeledrones super fast. Like, ooh, scary aliens. I'm like, no, 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 they're friendly, don't worry. But I thought it was funny that like that's what she picked up on. So
That's amazing.
yeah, clearly
I feel like Ben and Mark would appreciate that story.
Yeah, I think so.
That that without any context, the 5-year-old finds Skeledrones and said, "I need those."
yes, boxed everything else on my desk also because there's a lot of random stuff and like work stuff and whatever, but like that's where her eyes went.
I did let Ben know that I had to buy her a set of Skeledrones because she wanted mine, and he thought that was hilarious.
True.
So
Yeah, that is awesome. But I always say it's awesome that you married as big a geek as you are. So,
yeah, we were talking about that too. We were
um,
talking about when we went to see the Eric Bana Hulk movie.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't believe he got another date out of you after that.
I thought for sure then like, ooh man, this chick's gonna dump me.
Relationship's over before it starts.
But I mean, I think the important thing was that it's not like you were like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. Because if you had said that,
Oh, that would have been the end of it then. It
yeah,
would have been like, oh, this guy's taste is non-existent.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not what he said. So it's
That's
okay.
a good point. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
no reason.
Hi Jack, what are you doing, boy?
It's looking for trouble.
Yeah, I was looking for crumbs.
Yeah.
The morsel miser.
I know. Okay. I'll let you chit chat.
All right.
See you later.
All right.
Bye. How's 45 treating you so far? Is it okay?
um, what? Oh, the age thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Look, I've already forgotten. Ain't that some shit?
Okay. So it was very memorable and important for you, so that's good.
It was. It was. Boy, my problem with numbers is not just time zones and math and measuring, apparently. Um,
Well, at least we know that's not an issue related to aging, honestly, because that's been consistent, so we don't have to worry
yeah,
about like a
I just you put numbers in front of me and everything just goes to shit.
yeah,
So,
not your deal. Okay, well, good then. Okay, I'm going.
All right.
Probably taking some.
Yeah, I'm sure that Your sister's not going to throw that ball for you.
You can stay right there. You look very comfortable.
She said, "No, I'm gonna come."
Um, so yeah, so the girl with the dragon tattoo here is nice. I do like that because it's an all new sculpt, they sculpted the earrings because
Yes.
the original Zorana has the running change where larger head with earrings or smaller head that looks more like this one. I
Yeah.
like that this just includes the earrings there and captures both at the same with the same figure.
Yeah, I
And
did a really good job with the figure. It wasn't one of my favorites as a kid. I had it, but I didn't really play with her very much. Um, I don't I just don't remember liking the figure very much as a kid. I had to have it because it was Zartan's sister and it changed color and it's like gotta have that. But I just
um,
we're not really digging the figure much as a kid.
um, I liked her and I liked Xandar, and I used both of them extensively, but because they were Zartan siblings. But I liked them both, and I really like that this figure has just enough differences from the original. Well, for one, the face is better, so she's not quite as
Butterface.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit cartoony.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the feet are made of not super hard plastic. There's a because the vintage Joe figures, the feet are very solid. They're a very hard plastic. So the fact that there's just a little bit of give in Zaratna's boots is cool because that means that
Head holes are
the
break.
yes, I will never put this on a figure stand and worrying about the heel cracking off the same way so many vintage Joes are doing now because it's 40 some year old plastic.
Yeah.
So uh
That's one
so
of
Zorana, it's
the
nice.
people appreciate
What's up?
about I think that's one of the things that people don't appreciate about these Transformer crossover vehicles is yes, the plastic feels soft, and it is because it the plastic is soft, but that's because it it will age well. It will not become brittle in 40 years.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to worry about the hard plastic like that cracking or getting sun damage or it's nice. She comes with the standard stupid ass accessory that the original Zorana came with. It was such a stupid ass accessory that even the team working on GI Joe Classified had to completely redesign because they're like even they were like, wow, that weapon is junk. So they went and gave us another weird one that had the spinning blade, but it didn't look like a lethal flower at least. But this same backpack as the original, but this one's in black instead of pink. Different sculpt. It's a hollow sculpt, but the when I was a kid, Zorana and Xandar never wore their backpacks, and for the sake of this video, she is. But at some point, the backpack's gonna come off anyways.
I never used the backpack on my Zorana, but I did on Xandar because it was a quiver and he had a so I he always Xandar always had his backpack for his weapon.
um, I I remember finding the details on Xandar's sculpt to be more interesting. Like I liked his knife and I liked his pistol. I liked that this guy would kill people, but it was like close quarters. His weapon was always kind of strange to me. Um, but it always looked like a gun that fired crossbow bolts, and I guess that's sort of what it was. But
Yeah. And I like
6-year-old me was like, no, that knife and that pistol definitely more interesting. Um, and we're opening Zartan. I love that they used the card art and they just recreated it. Because I remember the 25th version repainted all that art. And when they tried to do Zartan in the 20. It's like, dude, that's not a good painting. This feels like old Hector Garrido, and it's nice. Um, Zartan, I'm always biased because he's my favorite bad guy ever from all fiction. So sometimes I'm a little tough on Zartan figures when they come out, but already there's two improvements on this guy. Firstly, the vintage Zartan, as iconic as it is, the face sculpt is soft and the mouth isn't easy to make out, and he doesn't have much of a nose. But because this is a new head sculpt, you can't really make out the lip. Definitely has a pronounced nose. Not my shitty camera, but um, so that's nice. Plus, his upper arms are a new sculpt because the shoulder armor does not go all the way down to the bicep like it did on the vintage figure.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting detail. It's like it was a detail they didn't need to add, but it's really cool that they did. Um, I like that the vest is not easily separated. Good, because I don't want to lose it. Um, as it was my comic back Zartan from 15 years ago, I went on eBay and I bought a vintage Zartan vest and I painted it silver to match because Zartan without the vest looks dumb.
Yeah.
I do like that he's got the leg armor and it is removable, but it's not going to come off as easily, so that's not going to get lost either.
No,
Um,
you asked me if it came off, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I don't remember when I opened it that it it's not as readily apparent that it's
no,
removable as it was on the vintage figure.
no, because I'm looking at it and without taking my glasses off, it was not apparent that there was the gap underneath.
Yeah.
So it honestly, it looked like until I got this guy in hand, it looked like it could have been, I mean, you confirmed for me that it came off,
Mhm.
but when I asked you, it was because I was more wondering if the leg armor was actually part of the sculpt this time around. So it's cool that it's not, but I can't easily lift them off, so I don't have to worry about losing those either.
Yeah, no, because that's I didn't even notice that when I opened it, and you asked me, and I'm like, geez, I don't know. I got to go get the figure. So
This Zartan, I like the additional painted details.
yeah,
Um,
they did
this
it.
is a, this is a nice version of Zartan. I'm very happy with this.
Yeah,
He comes with the classic backpack, the classic gun, and the stupid mask that has never fit properly. The classified one fits okay, but the vintage one never fit. The Fun School one didn't fit. The 2001 recast of it that they did for the Real American Hero Collection didn't fit. And this one fits and stays on, but this dude still got one very elongated skull that sticks out way too much from under the hood. Look, I have an imagination and all, but this thing, this mask has looked dumb on this figure now going on for 41 years. So um, I think if they had just left out the mask uh, this time and just given him a different backpack that doesn't open, I think it would have been forgivable, but
I don't know. I
um,
would have been upset myself.
I think most collectors would be. I think I'm the outlier that sometimes just likes to see tradition broken just for the sake of seeing tradition broken.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, but that's all right. There is something nice about seeing Zartan with his vintage backpack that looks like a high tech footlocker. So all right, so I I'm glad I finally have this. Yeah, the Thunder Machine. Thrasher's very happy. Dude's never had a vehicle to drive. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite dreadnoughts. But I own the I own the Collectors Club repaint in the red with the camo from 2004.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or I used to have it, and I used to have a vintage one. I don't have either of them anymore. And the vintage one, I can still get a new one. Maybe not the club version. It's probably expensive now.
You never
Um,
those.
but the yeah, so Thrasher's happy to have a Thunder Machine. And I'm happy that I finally have this set. I didn't mean to wait so long to get it, but now I really do have a glaring omission by not having the Cup Sergeant Slaughter Leatherneck set. So that is next on the list.
I was
So
just gonna ask. That was gonna be my next question. Is are you planning
yeah,
on doing the
um,
set?
it's I wanted that one already because I've been a Sergeant Slaughter fan since he was introduced to GI Joe through a mail order catalog where he's staring down Cobra Commander. I never owned the mail away version because I quickly got the Triple T version after that. But because when I got that catalog, I think it was in '86, so it was past his release. But I've been a fan ever since then. So, and Cup, dude, he's like an old warhorse transformer. I need that set. I got to get it. That'll be next. Now that I finally have these guys.
So yeah, you and you got the Hiss tank not too long ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have Bumblebee. I have the Hiss tank. Now I've got Now I've got the Thunder Machine. So yes, I really do need the Triple T.
Yeah, agreed. And I really like the set. I think they did a really good job with it.
Um,
And we did review that. I unboxed that
yeah,
as
you
well.
unboxed that one too.
I think I've unboxed all four of them on episodes. So if
Yeah,
you're
I think you have.
uh,
And I'm always playing catch up with these, but um, I just needed a chance to drool over having another Zartan figure. So
and it's a nice one too. I mean,
um,
the one of the things that I really like about these sets is the figures are all new molds.
yeah. And they feel different, but they feel right. And I love the fact that yeah, they recast them all because there's differences with all the details, and
Yeah,
that's it. I feel like it was the right direction to go, and I'm glad that they did. Um, El Zartan has the same slightly. They're not pliable, but you can tell his lower legs are made of the same plastic as Arana. So yeah, again, don't have to worry about his heel breaking.
right.
Um, yeah, because I have a comic pack Zartan now, um, and I have a Ninja Force Zartan. You know, I think I might need a Super 7 Cold Slither Zartan,
I think
especially one that
yeah,
changes color. Um,
I'm planning on I think I'm probably going to pick it up. I was kind of on the fence about it, but I'm like, yeah, I think I'll probably
you know
regret it.
what? It's $20.
Yeah.
So, and they're not making the rest of Cold Slither, and that I'm okay with that too. So,
I would
um,
have liked to have seen that, but whatever.
I
I was going to mention that I did pick up the I should have saved them and unboxed them on the show, but I couldn't wait. I got the Fatal Fluffy and Ramar from
well,
7.
well, it's really fucking good you got the Fatal Fluffy because I don't. It turns out,
They are sold out everywhere.
yeah. So you can't get them at the online retailers. Um, you can't get them through the Super 7 store, and
The Fatal Fluffy,
there's no guarantees that they'll restock them.
the
So
Fatal Fluffy is not even on the site anymore. I don't think.
no, I know that's what I mean. It was sold out, so they flat out took it down,
Yeah,
which tells me
they don't plan on
I don't
restocking.
think they're going to restock it.
No,
And the eBay prices are almost all north of $40 for each Fatal Fluffy. And since I've now lost hope that Target here is ever going to stock anything uh, after Snake Eyes, yeah, I think my collection will, for the foreseeable future, or maybe forever, I don't think I'm going to have a Fatal Fluffy. You will. You'll have two of them. I don't think I'll have one, but it's good you do have those because I think this is what happens when the toy companies wait 40 years to make a thing. All of a sudden, there's increased demand because people that haven't bought GI Joes in years, I saw responses on like the Super 7 Facebook, and people are like, "Oh, they never made a toy of that before. I kind of want this one." It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a decent figure too. They did a fantastic job with it.
um, did you open one or did you open both of
I opened both of them.
them?
I'll
Okay.
I'll have to we can review them on the next show. My computer's gonna die here in about 10 minutes, so we'll have to wrap it up
Yeah,
here.
that's okay. I just wanted to put an episode out there because there was a lot of news that we needed to talk about.
Yeah.
And um and so yeah, I just wanted to get an episode out there. And really, I only got the Thunder Machine sound wave yesterday. So it wasn't a problem to wait to open Zartan, but I didn't want to wait too long. So
Yeah,
um
understandable.
but
All right. I think so. I think that's about all we got for this particular episode.
yeah,
As always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. And as always, thanks for watching.
thanks everybody. Good night.